Warning. Some viewers may find the following opinions disturbing. Viewer discretion is advised.
What can I say about Soul Eater? This series is cool, weird, and sometimes a bit creepy. But it's all of these things put together and then some that has made this series quite successful. With this success, it's pretty interesting that Soul Eater only ran for 9 years with 113 chapters compiled in 25 volumes. So, what if instead of May 12, 2004, Soul Eater started today? Let's assume that the story of Soul Eater is the same if it came out in 2024. In this what-if scenario, Soul Eater would be following in the footsteps of Fire Force. The ending of Fire Force would be the inspiration Atsushi Okubo needed to write Soul Eater. This would mean that Soul Eater would be published by Kodansha Comics instead of Square Enix manga. This change potentially turns Soul Eater from a monthly series to a weekly one. Now it's been a while since I've read Soul Eater. From what I can remember, I think of this series rather fondly. It had an interesting cast of characters. There is the unique concept of humans turning into a variety of weapons, and there is even a school where Death was the headmaster. These were just a few of the things that gave Soul Eater its identity in 2004. However, if it started today, I feel like it would struggle to differentiate itself from other manga. Back then, I remember people comparing Soul Eater to Bleach. They both had shinigamis, both had something to do with souls, and they shared the concept of communicating with their weapons. Even with these similarities, they were still distinguishable from one another. This comparison would probably still be made, but the manga climate has changed since then. If Soul Eater started today, it would be compared to other manga besides Bleach. One of those would be its what-if predecessor, Fire Force. Looking at both stories, Fire Force was able to wrap things up nicely. Soul Eater, on the other hand, would still have readers asking about Maka's mom. All we are told about her is that she was a skilled scythe meister that helped Spirit Albarn become a death scythe. We did get to see what she looks like at the end of Fire Force, but she never actually makes an appearance in Soul Eater. Another series Soul Eater would be compared to is Gachiakuta. I'd imagine after Fire Force finished, Kei Urana would still graduate as Atsushi Okubo's assistant to a full-fledged mangaka. Both series would have similar artwork for obvious reasons, but they'd also share the graffiti aesthetics. So having two active series that give off the same vibe might harm the one that came out later. Even Death Meister Academy wouldn't feel original if Soul Eater was released today. The reason would be because of the word academy. This alone would have people thinking about the recently ended My Hero Academia. Schools in general aren't exclusive to either, but both have a specialized school where the students go on missions and fight. There are probably more comparisons that could be made, but it's stuff like this that would make it difficult for Soul Eater to stand out in 2024. Putting that aside, Soul Eater would have another thing to worry about. As we all know, shonen manga tend to have fan service. It just so happens that Soul Eater is one of those manga. Now the reception to fan service is completely different now compared to back then. Looking at a forum from 2010 about Prologue 1, people didn't mind the fan service. There was only one complaint about the story and art. Fast forward to today, you'd most likely see dozens of complaints about Blair. The fan service would actually do the opposite of what it's supposed to do and turn people off. But what are your thoughts? Do you think Soul Eater would be popular if Atsushi Okubo wrote it today? As always, thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.